You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. This is Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate you guys having you. As always, for 16 years, we've been bringing the smartest people, the most brilliant minds, and wonderful guests that share with you their stories, their journeys in life, their newest products, and newest writings for their authors and books, etc., etc. Today, we have a wonderful gentleman on the show. We'll be talking to Sam Oblitz and his work he's doing with the new app he is launching and developing, etc., etc. He is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Claim, a marketplace to acquire and engage the next generation of shoppers. He was previously an investor at Goldman Sachs in New York. He received an MBA from Harvard Business School, a master in public policy from Harvard Kennedy School, and a BA from Yale. Boy, he's been on the whole tour there of colleges. Sam and his wife Leslie live in Portland, Oregon, where they can be found skiing, running, biking, and fishing, just not at the same time. Welcome to the show, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming as well. Give us the .com or .whatever so people can find out more about your product.
Yeah, so our company, as Chris mentioned, is called Claim. You can find us at claim.co, claim.co. We're also on Instagram, claim_app, and on Twitter, #Claim, or @Claim rather. I'm not on social media, which we can talk about, Chris, but it's certainly part of the story.
Yeah. All right. So give us an overview of what you guys do there at claim.co.
Yeah, with Claim, our mission is to create easy and affordable memories. And the customers that we serve are college students. And so it's a success case for us if we can give you and your friends an opportunity to go out and try a new restaurant or try a new brand together and have an experience. And by the way, you're saving money along the way. And so the problem that we're attacking is really twofold. One, we think that there's been a depersonalization and almost kind of a disillusionment with social media and digital interaction on the consumer side. And on the other side, I think it's harder than ever for marketers to reach new customers right now. And so if Claim can be the conduit that connects brands and marketers with college students, that is a tremendous opportunity for us.
And why is college students important to target for those brands?
Yeah, one, it's a very inaccessible demographic because these college students are getting inundated with ads all over their social media, all over channels, out of home, etc. And secondly, because culture is set at kind of the 18 to 22-year-old demographic. Unfortunately, Chris, you and we're not setting culture as much anymore, but culture is really defined and those moments are created in the college student audience. And so if you can really capture and mold the energy in this demographic, that's hugely powerful for brands. And by the way, you start to create relationships with students right when they get their first credit card or their first bank account. They can become lifelong customers for your brand.
There you go. And I know a lot of people were targeting them, like with credit cards and stuff. That's why I still go to frat parties. Yeah.
How's that going for you?
I'm that old guy like Old Blue in the movie Old School.
I love it.
Showing up at frat parties, doing the Jello wrestling. Works for me. And that's how I'm going out, hopefully the same way Old Blue did. You got to stay young. You got to stay near the young people.
I love it.
Stay young. I think it's important. That's what Hugh Hefner used to say. A little bit of background. Tell us about you and some of the things you've worked on, in your words, and kind of things that led you up to here, wanting to be an entrepreneur, wanting to work with startups and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I was inspired from an early age to start something of my own through my dad. He built a business back in the 1980s doing real estate and project management in Portland, Oregon, and in Seattle. And I saw over time, as I grew older, kind of the risks that he'd taken as an entrepreneur and a business owner and how that affected him both positively and negatively. But more than anything, it inspired me to want to go build something of my own one day. And I kept that kind of in the back of my mind as I moved from college, working in finance and investing, and then going back to graduate school. And so the second part of kind of starting Claim, which is so core to our story, Chris, is Claim is built by myself and my closest friend, Tap Stevenson.
Huh.
And we were college roommates together. We ended up reuniting in grad school. And, building a company can be exceptionally lonely if you're doing it on your own. It is made so much better when you have a partner. And it's so important to find the right partner, because just like marriages, founder relationships can go south, and it can have deleterious consequences if you don't have a really strong foundation. And we're fortunate to have that.
There you go. That's good to have. Make sure you keep it that way. It's a tough game, the partnership game. I've had a few in my lifetime, and it's hard not to them go bad. Sometimes they're great for 10 years, but it's kind of like a band. It's kind of like the Rolling Stones. Yeah. Every while we can save each other.
We're going on 14 years. Here's another
14
more.
years. That's good.
Of knowing each other. Totally.
Oh, that's good. I had my best business partner was a friend of 22 years and a business partner of 13. And we did great until Yoko Ono showed up. Yoko Ono started getting in his head and turned him into a John Lennon. He quit the band. So that's seriously what happened. It was actually Yoko Ono. She was,
really?
Yeah, because John Lennon already passed away. So she was looking for some new material. But that's what did it. So watch how that goes. But write it while you can. So what was the proponent or idea? What was there some sort of moment that you guys had this idea like we should do this app?
Yeah. As I mentioned, it's a person first entrepreneurship story for us. It was a search for a while when we were in graduate school of what really gives us energy and what do we want to work on, because the highs are high and the lows are low. And so for us, what gave us energy was attacking something at consumer scale, meaning at the scale or distribution of the internet, not necessarily at this point in time, a smaller proposition or a smaller opportunity. So that was one. And then we started to diagnose what gave us energy. And certainly what gave me energy was moving away from social media. I mentioned at the top that I don't have Instagram. I deleted Facebook over 10 years ago. And so there's kind of this contradiction in my mind of I really didn't like social media as it stood due to the sort of hooks and the distraction and also the advertising involved in today's major platforms. I wanted to build something better, rebuild it from the ground up to be more authentic, more effective, and more kind of true to who each of us are as people and what gives us our own personalities and our own drive. And so that was the inspiration over time that led us to Claim, was almost a rejection of the status quo of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, et cetera. Let's find something that's true to who we are, that is more about the places that we shop, where we vote with our wallet, and also where our friends are. Because I don't know about you, Chris, but I rarely go out to eat alone. And, if we can give, again, opportunities for people to go have social experiences together, it's almost like a return to the pre-internet era where we're not looking at our screens for hours on end. Instead, we're having real face-to-face experiences, which can make our lives so much more beautiful.
Definitely. I like that. Man, you quit Facebook 10 years ago. That's pretty astounding. Show me on the doll where Mark Zuckerberg hurt you.
Yeah.
So is the offers on the app then kind of designed to bring more people together and group?
Exactly. So I'll give you an example. Have you ever played Pokemon Go, Chris? Did that ever?
Back when it first came out and everyone was kind of hot on it.
You would see people clustering around looking at their screens, and it was kind of goofy. We created a version of that for Claim, and I'll kind of describe it. Every Thursday at 11 a.m., we do a drop. And it's similar to a sneaker drop for Nike or a drop that any number of e-commerce brands have started to pioneer. But what's important for Claim is we're creating a macro moment. And that is a moment where everyone in your community is sharing this experience of getting a text from Claim, coming onto the app and unwrapping your brand for the week. And that communal experience, we hear people say that at 11 a.m., the lecture halls just fill with purple screens at the schools where Claim is live, because people are opening Claim. They want to see what they got for that week. And they immediately make plans to go do things together. Wow. And the sort of communal planning is so core to what we're doing, because we can end up sending hordes of students to a new restaurant that just opened, or sending hordes of students to, the Glossier or, a makeup store down the street, because we can create these macro moments. And what we see frequently is, in the same vein as Pokemon Go, students are walking around campus looking at their phone, waiting to get into the radius to collect the drop. And it creates this really powerful communal experience. One story that we like telling is one day we actually put the drop on the highway in Boston for one of our schools. And we were like, oh crap, sorry about that. And we texted the user base saying, hey, the drop is fixed. And we got all these texts back saying, actually, we're on the highway, leave it there. We want the drop, which shows tremendous love for the platform. Yeah. But that's really how Claim works, with these macro moments that we're creating every week.
You can create flash mobs of consumers, like showing up for lunch or dinner or someplace, and that would be wild. Now, you guys have got a $4 million seed round from Sequoia and a few other groups as well about that.
Yeah, so we've raised about $6 million total. Our last fundraising round was from the VC firm Sequoia Capital. We're really, excited to be working with Sequoia in particular because they are considered, one of the most long-lasting, enduring, and successful venture capital firms in history, having kind of written the first money into Apple, Google, WhatsApp, Instagram, DoorDash, the list goes on. And so
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, exactly. Not the who's who, just some lowly companies.
Yeah. Did they make it? Did they even make it?
Yeah, that's a good question for Claim. And so we have our work cut out for us, right? Here's kind of the gauntlet that's been laid down.
Yeah, you guys are next. Do you see yourself staying in the realm long term of just doing college students, or do you see yourself expanding to outside that market, or why do you hate anybody who's not a college student?
We get so much demand from people wanting to join, which is a great sign, and that's why we have a wait list. But the point earlier on, culture is defined at the younger demographic and then moves upwards and kind of permeates upwards. And if you've been following any number of memes or kind of shots across Gen Z for the way that Gen Z communicates or behaves, that has a tendency, if history repeats, to permeate upwards into older generations, especially as Gen Z becomes more professionalized in the workforce. And we think that studying and interacting and really understanding the college demographic gives us an innate benefit or an innate advantage to set culture ourselves and set culture at Claim. And so the short answer to your question is, we think that it's very ripe to stay in this demographic, especially given all the inbound and kind of heat we're getting from marketers. But in the next 1 to 3 years, call it, I do see us expanding beyond that demographic because we want to become the default shopping companion for anyone, essentially. But there's a path to get there that I think requires a lot of focus and sequencing.
Because eventually your base is going to graduate from college, hopefully.
Yeah.
And they're going to start moving on into their world, and I imagine there's some firsts for them as they buy houses and cars and parental stuff and cocaine and hookers and wait, what?
Claim won't support that. But to your point, we have college seniors graduating in the next month or so, and so we're making sure that Claim can essentially move with them when they move to the New Yorks, the LAs, wherever college students are going, post graduation, and still have a fantastic experience. And so that is something that's very top of mind. That continuity is important. Otherwise, candidly, we'd churn 25% of our user base if we didn't, retain those college seniors graduating.
I have this image like 30 years from now of 50-year-olds still going to wherever the freeway is to pick up the
We'll have flying cars by then, so we'll be less dangerous.
I hope so. I don't know. Some of the cars are flying on their own these days. I've seen it on TikTok, but usually it takes a lot of speed. What are some other aspects of the things that I know it looks like it's verified transactions are linked to credit cards, so there's probably a lot of data that you can provide back to marketers on behavior, right? That's one of our
superpowers in a way. If we focus for a moment on the challenges facing marketers, and usually when we talk about this, we get a lot of nods from marketers, but it's really three things. One, acquiring a customer right now is more expensive than ever. We've seen the cost to acquire a customer triple in the past decade. Point one. Point two is it's really difficult to know where that customer came from. In the space, we call it multi-touch attribution, but it's hey, Chris, did you see the billboard and then the Instagram ad and then your friend told you and then you made a purchase? Okay, how do we kind of allocate value across all those impressions or all those engagements that you saw before making a purchase? And it becomes insanely convoluted. And frankly, I think it's a fool's errand. So attribution is difficult. And then lastly, it's slow and it's imprecise. And it's slow and it's imprecise because of really secular shifts that are happening in the privacy landscape. Things like Google Chrome phasing out cookies, for example, things like Apple introducing anti-tracking technology or do not track technology, things that personally I think are very good for the consumer, but it makes the marketer's hair light on fire. And because of that, marketers are eager for any way that they can more authentically and more efficiently find new customers, especially in this demographic. And so one of the sort of differentiators for Claim is that when you sign up for Claim as a consumer, you integrate with your credit card or your bank account. And that will allow Claim to figure out where you shopped before and where you haven't. And so we can very precisely tell our marketers who is a new customer that Claim has helped them acquire, because we have 2 years of transaction history to be able to target off of. So as an example, Chris, we could say, hey, Chris has never been to Pete's Coffee, but he has gone to Starbucks and he has gone to Blue Bottle. And so getting him a small free sample on Claim, essentially a cashback incentive to go try Pete's for the first time, is fantastic for Pete's, because now we have a true first customer, true customer acquisition, and we can actually follow Chris over time as you develop your relationship and return to Pete's. What we don't do, though, is because of the privacy considerations, both for us as a company and the broader regulatory landscape, is we don't actually share any personally identifiable information with our brand partners. That's super important to us, because a lot of consumers will come to us and say, very reasonably, are you selling our data? And we're not selling your data. That's not the company we want to build. It's not the company we think has enduring value. We think the value here is actually everything we talked about earlier, giving you an incredible, social experience, giving you the opportunity to discover new things with your friends and being that social shopping companion. We just use the credit card information to determine whether you are truly a new customer, which marketers can't do anywhere else.
Yeah. One of the problems I always have with ads that are shoved at me, on Facebook and other places is I'll go buy something like workout protein, mix, and you'll go buy it, and then for the next day or two, you're getting ads for that protein.
Totally.
Mix, and you're like, I already purchased it. Like, I'm not going to purchase. I'll purchase more next week when I run out. But I purchased expensive items that way, and I know the ads got to be expensive for them, and you'll still get ads for like a week, and you're like, it's already in the can, man. I'm not buying another one.
Yeah, it's so interesting too, because Gen Z, when we interview our users, there's two very different takes on that. Some people say more personalization is better. I want to see more ads that are relevant to what I want to buy. And the other half says, this is creepy. Stop showing me workout protein. I already bought it. Go away.
Yeah.
And for us, the way that we kind of thread that needle with Claim is what you get once a week is really only one thing for you to try. And so we're not spamming you with a bunch of random things out there like you might find on, your bank's offers portal, Amex rewards, Chase rewards, whatever the case may be. We are giving you one thing a week that, based on your past spend and based on your friends, we think you'll want to go try. And that level of kind of intentionality leads to happy users and happy brands.
Definitely. And I like the idea of how you're doing rewards instead of ads. So they're not presented as advertising. They're presenting as rewards you can take and get.
Yeah, it's almost like if you go into Costco, and I love Kirkland, so I'll talk about Kirkland for a minute, but you go into Costco and there's samples everywhere. And the samples are there because it is on a marginal cost basis, very effective way for you to try new things, and you're going to go buy them. And, in the simplest of forms, Claim uses rewards in the same way. Going back to the coffee example, if you haven't been to the coffee place before, the coffee place can give you a digital free sample, i.e. a reason to come in for the first time, have a coffee, try the brand, try the product, do all of that. and then Claim will send you a Venmo back afterwards, almost like a cashback, reward, but it is very much centered around giving you the full experience, giving you that free sample in Costco in a way that is trackable, verifiable, attributable. And that's what's really cool about this. And kind of part of what we've understood, I think, about consumers so far is all the rewards apps out there are exceptionally transactionally based. What I mean by that is you see numbers, you see percentages, and it feels like a cheap experience in a way. I'm not going to go try a brand for the first time for 10% off or $1 off or whatever, with some exceptions. But what we do on Claim, in contrast, is we center the user around an object. We work with Sweetgreen, for example, and we won't say, here's $5 on Claim. Instead, we'll say, here's the harvest bowl. Here's the chicken pesto parm. It'll be a nice photo and beautiful kind of design language of our partner. And what we found in talking to users is, one, that gets them hungry, gets them salivating, but two, it gets them to think emotionally about the experience of trying a product, not transactionally about, am I saving dollars and cents, or what is the percentage off I'm getting? And that nuance is super important for us because we have A/B tested what both look like. And if you use Claim, Chris, which we should get you on after if you're interested, you won't really find numbers in the app. It's almost a point of religion for us, where you have to tap several layers deep into, a given screen in the app to actually find a number. And that feels counterintuitive in a way, and it is. But that's what sets us apart from advertising in general, is we're using rewards, not ads. And within rewards, it is almost object-based or product-based, not math-based.
There you go. I mean, I'm looking at a couple of screenshots here that are on your guys' website, and I can see I never know how to say this right, the Acacia bowl.
Yeah, Asahi.
Asahi. Is that how you say? I'm not cultured in any way, shape, or form. But I'm looking at the bowl, and it's delectable. I mean, it's got beautiful strawberries and blueberries.
Yeah, it's lunchtime too, so exactly.
Yeah, that's probably what's going on right now. I'm hungry. If my stomach start growling now, and that's more delectable than looking at a price. You look at that and you go, yeah, I'll eat that.
Yep.
And then by the time you're sold on that, and the price comes around, you're like, I don't care. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Now I notice you can order it or you can send as a gift, and there's also trading that goes on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So there are various ways that you can interact with Claim. So you come to Claim every Thursday for the drop. You get your brand for the week. Let's say it's the Asahi Bowl, probably from Life Alive is what you're looking at. If you don't like that, you can trade that for something else with anyone else on the platform. And that's super cool for us because, we grew up on Pokemon, we grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh, we grew up on these different trading card games. And so we're almost taking brands and making them into a trading card game.
Wow.
And so that in itself is a fun engagement loop. But there's also the gifting element of it, which is, hey, I might not like this, but I know Chris does. And I'm going to give this to you as a gift. And that to us was also actually one of the points of inspiration for Claim, which is so many of our digital interactions are transactional. And so if instead I can give a gift digitally, we think that is super powerful because it says not only I'm thinking about you, but I know what you like. And it fosters kind of this deeper sense of human connection I think has been lost in the last couple decades. And so that gifting function, we do think is a really powerful part of the application.
There you go. I might go back I never went to college. I should probably, maybe this is an excuse for me to go to college. I can get the Acacia Bowl or whatever it's called. Maybe I can learn in college how to pronounce ACAI Bowl.
Oh, I don't know how much practical knowledge you're going to get out of it, but yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out. I am barely actually at 56 finally mastering how to spell restaurant. Like I've been reviewing a lot of restaurants lately for our singles group, and so I've had to really get that down. So 56 years old, I'm finally figuring out how to spell restaurant.
Hey, little victories.
Little victories, yeah. There you go. Next, I'm gonna start with the rest of the English language. So, what are some aspects you maybe we haven't touched on or talked about that you want to tease out to people?
Yeah, so I think one of the things we've been able to do with a very close connection to the 18 to 22-year-old demographic is figure out what is powerful to them, what works and what doesn't, essentially. And we've noticed that, in a way, social loneliness is a very real thing for 18 to 22-year-olds, especially during COVID. Imagine going to college and spending, or high school or wherever, spending a year and a half, 2 years behind a screen, not socializing, not meeting friends, not getting to develop as much as a person as you would have liked to. And so one of the things we've noticed is, to the extent Claim can help under socialization or help you make friends or help you have a better experience, that gives us a tremendous amount of energy. We've been told by users that Claim is the one bright spot in their week, which on one hand, very motivating to us to be the one bright spot. On the other hand, if there's only one bright spot, clearly there are things that can be improved. And if Claim can play a small part in that, that gives us a lot of energy. There's also,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is quoted from your website. For one of your guys' business partners, you guys hit 97% of their new customer goal in half the expected time. And for another, you acquired customers with a 35% repeat rate within 30 days. That's magical for companies, especially retail, like, coffee or lunch places, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been fortunate to outperform our customer acquisition goals for major partners, which is fantastic. More importantly, what we've been able to show is Claim users aren't just one and done. They're not just going to try a place for the first time, receiving a $5 cashback coupon and moving on to the next place. We're actually able to develop really strong relationships between these customers and brands, and we can make lifelong fans out of these customers. I'll read you a quote that was sent to us a couple of days ago from a student at Northeastern in their student newspaper. But she said, her last name is Smith, says Smith said it has changed the experience of her friends and her weekly study dates together. They bring Smith to the business of the week to redeem their claim at, therefore always keeping their plans exciting and new. Smith said that she tried Pressed Cafe for the first time simply because one of her friends had a claim there, and now she gets her matcha there every day.
Wow.
And so the more we can create organic repeats, create a really strong, high value, repeating customer, that's a win-win for brands and for the customer.
There you go. I imagine some of the loyalty, you've got people that are waiting on you to drop, I hate to call it kind of an ad, a reward. We'll call it a reward. But I mean, there's no one waiting for ads to drop on social media.
Yeah, it's a fantastic point. Show me a place where people are excited to see another ad.
In fact, on TikTok, they've got so many people selling just about every stupid thing you can imagine.
Yeah.
It has become endemic. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
It has become like I can't even handle the For You page anymore, and I only do what I follow, and even then there's still stuff that comes at you.
Totally.
And some of the repetition of the people that are, I guess, affiliate selling the brands is insane. Like if I see there's something on there that's I'm not even going to plug it. It's just a voice recording app, which is really weird because you can do that with your phone.
Yeah.
But it's some sort of add-on that you can tape to the back of your phone. And there must be like 50 trillion people selling that damn thing. And so like you'll see a different person on TikTok. You're like, oh, thank God it's a different human being. And they're like, yeah, I really like this voice. And you're like, for crap's sake, they got me again. And yeah, no one's looking forward to ads, but it sounds like some of the loyalty that you've got where people are waiting with bated breath for this, the drop, and then their loyalty to your program. Sounds like a lot of that loyalty develops into a mindset that turns into loyalty for the brands. Yeah.
So 2 quick points on what you just said. Number one is Gen Z over time, I think, is becoming allergic to influencers. And it's not just Gen Z. It sounds like it's you and me both. You really don't find as much value in people hawking things, especially when a bunch of people are hawking the same thing and it's transparent and it's silly.
Crap.
And it's crap. And you don't need it. And so that's point one, is what Claim does is by giving you this ad, to use your word, once a week, it is a place that we think you will like based on your shopping and where your friends have shopped. And so it feels far more authentic. You're much more likely to go try a place if your friend says, it's great, I've been there, you should try it, than some random talking head on social media. So that's kind of point one. Two, we're fortunate to have tremendous loyalty with the Claim user base. And we measure that because we measure how many students come back every single week in cohorts and kind of figure out what our retention is. And what we're fortunate to know is we have incredible retention after 4 weeks, after 8 weeks, after 24 weeks. People keep coming back week after week, and they're excited about this moment that we are creating. And so the loyalty between Claim and its users is really rich. The loyalty in terms of brands is a fascinating subject, because if you think about Starbucks or Sweetgreen or United or Delta, each of these, fantastic brands has their own loyalty program or frequent flyer program. And they've often invested tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars into these loyalty programs. But the reality is the average American has 15-ish loyalty related apps on their phone, only uses 4 or 5. And so if you're a business owner and you're thinking, I can get somebody to download my loyalty program to my coffee shop, unfortunately, good luck. It's not going to happen. And so the role that Claim plays for our best partners is actually getting somebody in the door the first time, capturing their attention in this really fun and kind of magic way. And then we move them along what we call the retention ramp. So we get you to come in the first time. We then get you to come in again. You then go in on your own. And after a few visits, at that moment, we can give you an opportunity to enroll in that loyalty program. But until that time, most brands with their loyalty programs are shouting into the void. It's not something that anybody's going to care about to go download yet another loyalty app. But because Claim is integrated and we're focused and it's magic, we can be the springboard into those loyalty programs, which a lot of brands find very valuable.
I don't know, it was a month or two ago. I just erased all the loyalty things I ever use on my phone. I had 20 of the, fast food joints and different things. And all they do is just go remind me to eat badly. So you don't need the McDonald's app.
You've been to Sweetgreen?
I haven't. I don't know if they have them out here where I'm at in Utah right now. Do they have them? Is it a coffee place?
No, it's a salad place. It's a publicly traded salad company. They're across the country, but it's fantastic. They're one of our partners. If they don't have one in Salt Lake or Provo or wherever you're at, I hope they do soon.
Sweetgreen, Utah. I'll see if they have one. But there's one. There might be one in Salt Lake. It says here maybe, but I'll see if what locations there are. But let's see here. They are everywhere. Holy crap, they're huge. I don't know that they're in Utah. I'm not seeing it. There's Dallas, Texas, Houston. No, I don't think they have any in Utah. That's probably I haven't seen it. So I'll keep an eye for it. Now, I noticed there's maybe some gamification of where there's a feed that shows. Where did that go? I just saw it. It was on the TechCrunch article. There's a feed that shows people redeeming stuff. They're redeeming stuff. They're earning gold status. So it sounds like there's some gamification where you're seeing other people utilizing the app, and you're like, oh, wow. People are doing that. Is there any community over there where you're seeing what your friends are doing or what people are doing? Yeah,
fantastic question. So when Venmo started, the kind of peer-to-peer payments app, they had a feed, and that feed still exists. And so if you go onto Venmo now, you can see people paying each other rent or paying each other for pizza. And this was 10 years ago, and at the time, people were like, "What the heck is this?" And I still think, "What the heck is this?" We spoke to the early Venmo team. And their priority was showing that this app was lively, that there were real transactions happening on here. And so we have a feed on Claim too, partly inspired by that. If you actually log on to Claim right now, you'll just see a ledger of people trying new places, claiming new things, trading things happening every single second. So it shows that this app is very real and alive, but also it shows where your friends are shopping. And so the community aspect of this, you can see it both at your school level, meaning if you're at UT Austin, for example, you can see what people at UT Austin are doing. But you can also zoom in one level deeper and see where your friends are shopping, the places your friends are trying, the places you can trade with your friends. And that to us is great because it creates coordination opportunities for people to go try things together. You can see, hey, my friend just went to Sweetgreen. I haven't been there before. I'm going to ask him how it was. I'm going to go, find a way to get a claim. I'm going to wheel and deal and get one so I can try it for the first time. And so the feed to us very much is a, gamification and engagement loop, but it also makes Claim feel more authentic. We take inspiration from Be Real, which is the app that sends you the notification once a day. Hey, it's time to be real. And, you take a photo of yourself, and that is meant for, a much smaller, denser friend group, meaning myself and 10 friends, 15 friends. It's not made for the Instagram. I'm going to put this out into the world very diffusely. And Claim is the same way as Be Real. We want this to be a way to deepen your social connections with your friends, not hey, I went to McDonald's, look at me.
That's what I do. I post McDonald's. Look, I got the double and insulin. So there you go. Any final thoughts as we go out? I mean, if people out there listening, even if they're not college students, do they sign up for the future? What should people do that are out there listening to this that maybe don't fit the demo of the college students?
Yeah, so we're excited to have you all on the platform. You can sign up for the waitlist at claim.co. You'll be the first people to know when we are expanding. You can also download the app, and that's the other way to join the waitlist. But keep an eye out, because I think that we're really solving a need here, both for marketers who realize that advertising is broken. We're also solving a need for consumers, because attention is at an all-time low. People are yearning for opportunities to go do things together in the real world, have great social experiences, make friends. And if Claim can play a small role, that's fantastic for us. We said at the beginning, our mission is to create easy and affordable memories, give you opportunities to get rewarded by trying new things together. And that's what we're at. That's what we're all about at Claim.
Yeah. I mean, if I see pictures of something, I get hungry. I'm 56. I like to try new restaurants, but I'm kind of weird, I guess. I'm also single at 56, so that's kind of why I like to go out to eat and try new restaurants. I guess everybody else in my age group who's not single is like, we're just going to sit and watch Netflix and drool out the side of our mouth. And I'm like, no, I really want to. I love trying new things, and so I'm kind of weird that way. Most people are like, I want to go to the same place. But this kind of encourages people out of that behavior, and it makes them try new things. I personally love it. I love trying a new restaurant. I love going to someplace I haven't, trying new menu items. Although I don't know, I'm really bad. I'll always go with the filet, but it's cooked different every time, depending upon the restaurant that cooks.
You'll order a bunch of different fillets, and you'll find your favorite one, and then you'll be a lifelong customer. That's the goal.
That's the goal. And I found some places I really love. Give us your final thoughts. Tell people where to onboard as we go out.
Yeah. Final thoughts are, it is a great opportunity to be building, something that we think will replace advertising. And so if you hate Facebook, if you hate Instagram, if you hate TikTok, whether you realize it or not, come try Claim, because we are in a way the anti-Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We will not bore you with TikTok shop. We'll give you authentic opportunities to go try new things with friends.
Cool. You won't see ads of crap you already bought.
Exactly. No more whey protein.
Yeah, it's just so funny. You're just like, you'll buy it, and like, there it is, and you're just like, I don't need that ad. And you're thinking, some poor company's spending all that money on that ad.
And it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. We work with e-commerce companies selling apparel, selling beauty, personal care. A lot of these companies are paying $20, $30, $50, $100 in spend and cost to acquire a customer. So it's tremendously lucrative if one can crack the code here, and that's what we're working on.
Sounds like you guys have cracked it. Thank you very much for coming on the show, Sam. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chris. This was fun.
There you go. Thanks, Ron, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss One, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. If I can find the end.